Again. Join me now with more Armed Forces Reserve veteran, candidate for U.S. Senate in Pennsylvania, and author of Nothing to Lose, Everything to Gain, Kathy Barnette. Kathy, thank you so much for joining me. So, Kathy, as you know, the situation is growing more dire by the day in Ukraine. And so far, the cease talks have gone nowhere. They just keep going back and forth. And the Biden administration hasn't really given any sort of straight, concise direction on what to do. We know there's been a back and forth on the jets. Where do you think we should go with this for the U.S. in our involvement?
Yes. You know, quite frankly, I woke up and I saw Kamala Harris over there giggling like a hyena, and my heart just fell to the floor. Right now, we need to be sober. We need to be very sober and very disciplined in our thinking and our response and in the steps we intend to take next. And instead, what we're getting from the Biden administration, and quite frankly, from some of our legislators from the Republican Party, is reckless rhetoric, being very boastful, calling for the assassination of President Putin. I mean, this is a time when we truly need sober, very disciplined thinking and a response. Because we're dealing with another nuclear power. The last thing we should be gunning for here is an escalation in the situation. And yet, from the very beginning, it is as if Biden and the administration has been ginning up this war. This war did not have to happen, and perhaps Biden and his people had talks with Putin, and perhaps Putin said he's only going to take just a little bit. Remember when Biden said that? And so now Putin is doing what any rogue regime would do, any totalitarian would do. He wants to take it all. What Trump showed us is that peace comes through strength. What Biden is showing us is that war comes through weakness. That's the reason why we find ourselves where we are.
Yeah, you're talking about when Biden said at a press conference something about a small incursion, and our enemies, they hear that and they take note. So Russia has repeatedly pointed to its nuclear arsenal in these conversations. How concerned should we be? Do you think Putin would actually go to those levels?
Who knows what is in the mind of Vladimir Putin, right? Who knows that? What we do know is that when we're talking about people like China, people like North Korea, Iran, and Russia, they are ticking time bomb. They do not want to be the sole unopposed power just over their little region. They want to be the sole unopposed power over it all. And they have shown us in the past that they are willing to do just about anything to do it. Again, the reason why under the previous administration we did not hear about wars, and rumors of wars is because President Trump showed decisive strength. In addition to decisive strength, he made sure that America was energy independent. Energy equals freedom. Germany and the rest of the European NATO countries are realizing the consequences of what happens when you get in bed with the devil. Now they cannot stop Putin. And so, although I can appreciate the European countries within NATO providing some aid and resources to Ukraine, but guess what? They're also providing resources to Putin. Germany, more than 50% of their energy source comes from Russia. More than 46% of Italy's energy source comes from Russia. Moldova, 100% of their energy source in the Balkans comes from Russia. And they are unable to pull away from that. And instead of Biden maintaining what President Trump had already done and being a competitor to Russia, he made sure that America became energy reliant, not just energy reliant on anyone, but energy reliant on our enemies. And so again, we find that this is what happens when you get in bed with the devil. Energy equals freedom. So if we want freedom, we need to become energy independent. There's no better place to do that than right here in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We are literally walking on black gold.
Well, and you talk about Germany and how they get, 50% of their energy from there. Well, you know, they speak so loudly against the war, yet they're not willing to cut off the money that they're giving to the war machine. So it's a lot of virtue signaling. And of course, I supported the idea of banning Russian oil in this country. Okay, but then they also didn't give us a replacement solution. And so, the Biden administration should have had a replacement solution, or at least working on a serious one, rather than just telling us to buy electric cars. So I would imagine the situation is going to continue to get worse for us here at home. We're going to continue to become more poor every single day as the Biden administration struggles to come up with some sort of real solution. Well, Kathy, we appreciate you joining us on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.